from the town's perspective, but our concern is operationally, is it causing us a problem? No, it's not. Fine, we won't be addressing that. So we're only trying to bring forward issues that council that cause us an operational problem, and we need to find a remedy for that, and we need to move forward with that. Right now, we cannot maintain this sidewalk, and this hedge needs to be removed in order for us to do that, and we have an obligation in order to do that. We have an obligation to maintain that sidewalk. So unfortunately, the hedge has to be removed. Now, in this particular property, it has changed ownership. In fact, it's changed ownership, I believe, 3 times since the first time it was presented to this to a previous council. So it continues to be an issue, and at some point it needs to be addressed, in our opinion.
Councillor?
Thank you. And so from what I understand with the history of that property in particular, that there was remedies with the pruning back of that hedge, and maybe perhaps with the new ownership maybe they're not aware or weren't doing it. So are you suggesting that those remedies no longer work?
Mr. Downey.
Through you, the clearance that we require in order to meet our provincial standards or provincial requirements require the removal of the hedge. That's one of the reasons we took the picture. You'll see that it actually gets right into the trunks of the cedars. So cutting it back as far as we need it to go would mean that we would need to cut down the hedge. Trimming is no longer an option.
Gotcha. Okay. 1 second, please. The other one, in respect to the fouling, I know that's one of the #1 complaints with bylaw, and I just wanted to kind of understand again, like, what is that you're trying to achieve with that, in a sense that, is it saying that you're not going to be allowed to dump some gravel on the road for your construction purpose at all, and you have to place it on your property? What is the achievement here? I know that there are a lot of people that do some construction and they just have nowhere to put it. Is it because people are messy about it? There's a process they don't follow? I just, again, it's a lot in this document that I'm just really trying to understand with what you're trying to achieve there.
Mr. Downey?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is an issue with regards to ensuring that our roads are maintained and they're safe. You are not permitted to dump gravel or any other material on town property. Certainly not on a roadway. People do it, and it's called a fouling of the road, and there's a bylaw against it, and we are asking for that bylaw to be enforced. We don't believe that there's a process in place that would allow someone to come in, foul the road, and still keep it safe. Kids walking out from behind a dumpster or playing in that pile of dirt during the off hours, a variety of things when they come in and they scrape that material off the road and they do damage to the road and the repairs to the road. There are a number of concerns. If they are looking to have materials delivered to the site, we are asking for it not to be placed on the roadway. We have a little bit more latitude with regard to the boulevard, but certainly not to the roadway.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, just real quickly. So you're saying that people are doing it, and you're saying you want to allow a bylaw to enforce it, but I thought if the bylaw is already there, should we not already be enforcing it? Like, I'm just really confused as to like why this is even coming forward. Should we not be already dealing with that? Or is this something different? What's the revision here?
Mr. Downey?
So, through you, Mr. Chair, so part of the issue here is you're looking at
your microphone.
Bylaws to be repealed or a new bylaw put in.
everything on the actual property and not on the road.
Yeah, that was much better.
You were doing a really good job for someone who could. So, just for clarification, as we have more and more infill projects, this could become a greater problem, and the bylaw would correct that if it's enforced. But then, so the long and short of it is that anybody who's doing an infill project is expected to put all of their development equipment on the actual property that they're developing.
Mr. Downey?
Is that the bottom line to this? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
Looking at 3.1 and 3.2, Councillor Gilliland and I had a conversation about this. I guess you call it the boulevard. 3.1 and 3.2 talks about soft landscaping strips. So does that mean that people can plant in that boulevard space as long as they maintain it and don't break any of the rules in 3.2?
Mr. Downey?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure, are we on page 8?
We're on page 6.
Okay.
Five of the bylaw.
Okay, we're on page 6, and A at the very top, talking about soft landscaping. So does that mean that a resident can plant that boulevard strip? Is that what's meant by soft landscaping, as long as it says if it's maintained by the owner in a state of healthy and vigorous growth? And maybe that's an answer for next week.
Mr. Downey?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find out where,
You might have
It's
different.
page 53 of 59, and it's
okay, you got a
page
different one.
6 of 20 on the bylaw
Thank you.
at
Thank
the
you.
top.
I apologize, you are on the bylaw.
The
I
bylaw.
apologize. Okay.
Yeah,
I was in
thank
the
you.
report. Okay.
Yeah,
So, I'm
sorry, I skipped
you're-
right to the
You're on page
bylaw.
5? Okay, I apologize. Yep.
5 and 6.
So
Yes, okay.
permitted encroachments, and there's all kinds of, all kinds of things that you can do as long as you're doing it properly, like putting an underground irrigation system in, etc. But I'm not clear about that strip that's between the sidewalk and the road that's in front of a residence. Is that, when we're talking about soft landscaping, are we talking about being able to plant that boulevard area as long as it's maintained appropriately?
Mr. Downey?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, that's an encroachment. So we are not permitting that to occur. As I say, as long as it doesn't cause an operational issue for us, it's not something that we would necessarily need to come in and enforce. However, it's not something we're encouraging either. There's a variety of different things that happen. This spring, we had a number of concerns with residents because their boulevards are being torn up with the 5G being put in. And so if you went in and did some work there, you would feel, well, I just went and did some work, but you did it in town property,
Right.
and you had no permission to do
Right.
so.
Right, well, and I can see that, but, in that case, the resident is wrong. But, but as long as, okay, so because, the more, if the resident has to cut that grass, if they're responsible for cutting that grass and maintaining that space, then I don't see why they can't plant it other than grass, something that maybe more conducive to flood prevention or growing vegetables or something like that, as long as it's not unsightly. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Humphreys, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to Mr. Downey. And I appreciate the report. I know we need to do something. It's been, and we have to make sure that we're able to provide maintenance as we need to. Just a comment for me. I mean, I remember when this occurred, when the original owner, we approached them, and then they sold and continues to do that. In particular, the one on Pine Needle. If there's, I know that area pretty well, and if there's anything we can do to help preserve that hedge somehow, because it really is beautiful, and I know the number one thing is to get those sidewalks cleaner, but if there's some way we can cut them back as much as possible, or ask this new owner, sounds like he's willing to work with us, to say that maybe we can grandfather his area, or is that just a completely no? Just because I just know it'll have, like when you open that up, it'll be unbelievable privacy. It'll be, their whole backyard is that part of the road. I mean, if that's the case, there's nothing we can do. I just feel for the new owner probably walking into this not aware, and I just hope that we can do something. If we can't, we can't. I just really more of a comment, Mr. Downey. I mean, you know how to handle things perfectly. I'm not worried about that. I don't know, if you could, you would. That's just my only concern. But overall, I'm happy that this is happening, because at least we can proactively work on some of these things that are happening, and can provide the service levels that we need to for snow removal. And our residents need that to happen properly. So thanks. That's all.
Do you want him
No.
to repeat what he said? No, okay.
No, he answered it 1,000 times.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know a couple of the examples that's written up on the report we've discussed for a lengthy period of time last term. And through you, Mr. Chair, to our solicitor, the property on Mendes Forest in particular, it's changed hands.
We don't have...
On Zoom?
Is she here? Sorry? Okay. We can get them virtually. Go ahead.
So that property has changed hands a couple of times, and the original owner last term cut the hedges at the behest of staff. Is there a way to our solicitor that we can put a lien on any properties that they can't transact on their home unless the encroachment has been dealt with?
Wherever Mr. Serio is.
Okay. Hi, through you, Mr. Chair. We would have to look into it to see if we can put some form of restrictive covenant, but in order to do that, the property owner would have to agree. Another way to do it could possibly be that in the event that this bylaw does go through and bylaw is enforcing it, then there could be some notice of violation that then would then get registered on title to the property.
Councillor?
Thank you. So I guess I'll take that as a yes. We can put a lien on, and transactions cannot, land cannot be dispositioned until our requirements are met.
Mr. Serio? I guess, does the bylaw allow you to register on title if there's...
It wouldn't be considered a lien, but there is something that could be registered, that may be able to be registered on title if they are not complying with the bylaw.
Okay. Thank you. I think that one concern that we had last term was that there's really nothing stopping homeowners from encroaching on town land because this is complaint-based, and not many people complain about issues like this unless there is a site or safety issue. So this is one suggestion that that's been bandied about, and if this is something that staff can take away, given the parameters of this current bylaw recommendation, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. We are at 8.4, update on proposed legislative changes to Development Charges Act and Planning Act. Motion to receive for information, please. Councillor Humphreys, second. Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions? Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. This is to receive for information. So I suppose most of the questions in this report will be addressed by the consultant, and thank you. This is through you, Mr. Chair, to Ms. Wainwright Von Kessel. And what would the timing be on that?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel. There we go. Yep. Oh, you had it. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The one thing we are waiting for is the regulations to come from the province. So once those regulations have been released, then we can move forward with the consultant project. Until that time, we're not able to do so. We're hoping that they will get released later this year or early next year.
Councillor?
It does say somewhere in this report that most of the details will be in the regulations.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The regulations provide the specific details on how a community benefit charge would be calculated and would provide more prescribed information on how we would move forward with enacting one.
And are we hoping that that municipalities will be consulted on these regulations?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Chair, through the process with the provincial government, and generally the regulations are released, and then there is time for consultation from municipalities. So once they are released, we'll be able to provide comment to the provincial government.
Thank you. So the community benefit charge is, it sounds from the report that it may not be something that helps us, but again, we'll have to wait to see what the consultants say. Thank you. There was something that I wasn't clear about. So we're getting 100% of some soft services, but they're taking away the municipal administration and also the municipal parking. So I wasn't clear what was meant by municipal parking.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Municipal parking is any parking that is for public use, including parking at our facilities, parking for visitors at Town Hall, but would not include parking for staff. So such as like parking, if we wanted to have more parking downtown that was municipal parking, that would be excluded as part of, or would be included in the CBC and removed from the development charge.
Sorry, I'm not sure that I'm clear. So for example, if at the Town Hall, parking for staff would not be included, but parking for visitors would be?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So if we were to expand parking at Town Hall because of growth for the senior center,
Yeah.
then that would be parking that would be eligible under municipal parking. If we were expanding the parking for staff, it would
Okay.
not be eligible under the current DC bylaw.
And with respect, at the moment under the Planning Act, we're able to ask a developer is able to ask us for extra height and density in exchange for community benefit, for example, affordable housing. So without the CBC, we're still going to be able to that will still apply in the Planning Act?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are changes that are coming to the Planning Act. One of them relates to density bonusing.
Right.
So that is going to be repealed, and it will no longer be allowable after 2 years after the regulations come in force, or if we implement a community benefit charge earlier than that date.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow. So what is the 2 years?
From when the regulations are released.
So within the 2 years, we can still use that in the Planning Act, and after that, we can't?
That is correct.
Even if we don't have a community benefit charge?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so after that 2-year time period elapses, we'll either need to have a community benefit charge, or we will not be able to collect for those types of items under density bonusing.
Oh, that's not good news. Could you look at the chart on page 6 of 12? I find it very strange.
Is there a question?
On the left side of the green slice, there's a white piece, and that says municipal parking. On the right side of the strip, there's a white slice, but it doesn't say that it represents anything.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so the municipal parking piece, the reason the slice doesn't show is because it is so small. It's only $4 out of the total amount, and the general government piece is that green piece that sticks out a little bit. It's just that it's so small, it's not there.
So that green piece is just meant to slide in and complete the circle?
Yeah, that green piece is the piece that is coming out of the DC eligible costs currently.
Thank you. I'll cede the floor to Councillor Thompson.
Any more questions?
I have one more, but I'm going to wait with it.
Okay. Councillor Thompson?
Thank you. Through you to Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel. Just to clarify, on page 7, it speaks to the community benefit charge and that it must be levied on a residential development of at least 10 units and 5 stories above ground. On page 8, it makes another reference, but it says that in the first paragraph, the majority of the town's current, and it goes on to say whereby the development must exceed 5 stories. Can I assume that was just a typo and it's supposed to be at?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so it is 5 or more stories.
So in this case, it doesn't have to exceed, it just has to be at 5 or more, for sure. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Gardner? Sorry, 1 sec. Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you, through Mr. Chair. Was there a webinar PDF presentation that was shared that maybe council could also have for record?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we've had some discussions among other municipalities within the York region, but not necessarily a webinar. There was some webinars that were put forth by the province. We can look up and see what some of that information is and share that with council. It's some of it can be fairly technical.
Great, thank you, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Councillor Gardner?
Thank you. My comment is with respect to page 9. And the bill has also made other Planning Act changes. It's middle of the page. And one of those is related to infrastructure development. Bill 197 revises the environmental assessment process to reduce timelines in order for infrastructure to be built sooner. I have to say that I think that's a mistake, that we need to get serious about climate change and, if anything, increase the environmental assessment process to make sure that we've captured everything. So I strongly object to that.
Any comments, any questions to anyone? Just a comment.
Oh, you're asking me?
Right. Just a comment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I just have one on page 5 of 12, the table that's there. It illustrates the anticipated impact on development charges. Are there any projects that staff are aware of that, as a result of this, projects would be impacted? To Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel?
To you, Mr. Chair. So we are looking at those projects as we are working on developing the capital budget. We have noticed there's going to be an impact to some future projects in the capital budget where we may have more DC funding. The biggest projects that we're questioning right now as to whether or not we would lose funding and have to move to CBC would be if there were parking projects. But we don't seem to have too many of those in the pipeline at this point. There are, under general government, we have some studies placed there, so that's where our consultant had put a number of the study projects in there, but I think a lot of those could be moved to their appropriate classification. So for example, an indoor recreation study could be moved to indoor recreation development charges. So there's a lot of that evaluation that the consultant will have to go through in establishing what the new charge could be.
Thank you. So this table, as a result of the changes, the net change would be 922,000. Is that right?
To you, Mr. Chair, yes. And this table is basically just adding back the 10% discounting on the soft services and just removing the municipal parking and general government. And like I said, the general government, they may be able to recover some of those studies under the other classifications.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Final item, 8.6, safe restart funding. Sorry, did I miss one? 8.5. 2020 year-end surplus deficit financial control bylaw. Yeah, pretty big one. Can I get a motion on the floor, please? Councillor Thompson, Mayor Marakis. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Last item, 8.6, safe restart funding. Motion to receive for information, please. Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Gilliland, any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We have notices of motion listed, a few extra ones that have been included for next week. Any new business? We'll start on my right. Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I know that we're kind of approaching the multicultural festival, and I think we have cultural days, which is coming up, which is great. I did have some residents remind me we had an event last year, which was a one-day event, and was wondering if council is expected to receive any kind of financial update of that event. I believe that we had allocated $5,000 to that event, and I'm just wondering if staff is working on bringing something back to council to kind of give us an idea of the numbers of that.
Do we know who? Mr. Mayor, maybe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if we're speaking about the event, the Caribbean one or the Barbados one, we dealt with this. We received an update from our CEO. Yep.
The CEO gave us a breakdown with the. I must have missed it.
I don't recall a full breakdown of a report. Well, maybe it's out there. Maybe
is Mr. CEO on Zoom? Okay, I'll take it offline.
Okay, we'll take it offline. Any other new business?
No.
Councillor Humphreys? Councillor Kim? Councillor Gardner? Mr. Thompson? Mayor Marcus? Public service announcements? Mayor Marcus? Councillor Thompson? Councillor Gardner?
Thank you. You probably know by now that there is an extra concert in the park. And one of our hometown musicians, Glenn Maris, is going to be doing that. I'm guessing that there won't be any spots in actually the area designated, but it's really easy to hear all through the park, and it's an extra celebration, so nice.
Thank you. Councillor Kim? Councillor Humphreys?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to add one point, I've had lots of comments of neighbors saying that they walk around the park, walk around the neighborhood, and really enjoy it, and they love it. I think that's wonderful. I just wanted to also say that I attended the drive-in movie this weekend, and it was so amazing. I want to thank staff so much. I mean, you guys have pulled off a really difficult year with some incredible events with all safety in mind, and the public residents have thoroughly enjoyed them. So I just want to thank staff for all the hard work on that. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Gilliland?
Thank you.
Got it.
I just wanted to point out that the town of Aurora is doing a multicultural festival this upcoming weekend, September 12th and 13th. I know staff has been working really hard to bring back some culture to our town and have that experience. There's virtual activities, enjoy at home cooking, online cultural activities, and interactive games. Stay curious, curated by global sites to explore virtuality. Go to aurora.ca/multicultural festival for more information, and please engage with all the great culture and art that we have in our town and help support that. So I'm excited about it.
Thank you. Mayor Marcus?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add, thank staff. Mr. Downey, if you could pass along, through you, Mr. Chair, if you could pass along comments that I received from residents on Kitimat that the workmanship was great, and they're very happy with the outcome. Everyone's using the sidewalk, and it got done just before school started. So they just wanted to pass along a lot of those comments to staff.
Thank you. One more, Councillor Gilliland.
Thank you. I just one more thing I forgot, because I wasn't sure to put it in public announcements or new business, and I may have missed it. I just wanted to thank, obviously, our provincial government for giving us the $1.3 million for the Safe Start Restart program, and definitely will be used appropriately, and I think it's going to a great cause in our community, and I just wanted to kind of say that out loud. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just a final, I guess, shout out to all the teachers and administrators and all the kids going back to school. We send our positive energies to all of you, and we know you can do it, and we'll get through this. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thanks, everyone.